It's great to see such a large crowd here this morning, and my ego would like me to believe that you all came out at 7:30 in the morning to hear me speak. But everybody in the room knows you turned out because Helen told you to. If it's one thing I've learned in my first year at UCF, it is never to underestimate the power of the bun. In all seriousness, no one has done more for me in my first year here at UCF to introduce me to the community and make me feel more at home here than Helen Donegan has. And I just want to thank her personally. She's a real treasure to the university. So, when I interviewed here a couple of years ago, I was told a lot about how UCF was America's leading partnership university. And I have to tell you, I was skeptical. I've been around a while. I've read a lot of taglines and heard a lot of slogans. And frankly, most of them really don't live up to their hype. But as I've crossed this community from one end to the other over the last year, I've learned that America's leading partnership university isn't a slogan. It's a culture, and it's an expectation that we carry with us each day. And for that, I would like to acknowledge and thank Dr. John Hitt for his leadership. I also want to thank Dr. Hitt for the opportunity to speak with you this morning about the College of Business, its direction, and the chance to improve business education here in Central Florida. UCF is a young institution. It's only 50 years old. It's still trying to build its reputation and its identity, those things that will define the UCF student experience, and those things that will differentiate our alumni as they move out into the community. And the opportunity to influence that culture and help build that identity is what really brought me here to UCF. And so most of my comments this morning are going to be about how we're going to do that in the College of Business and the opportunity that gives us for the next 20 years. For those of you who know me, I'm a pretty avid sports fan. I'll explain the baseballs on the table later. And I like to use quotes from notable figures to inspire students and to make points. And so in preparing for this morning's speech, I was searching for a quote that I thought was appropriate. And I came across one from Bill Bradley, former senator and basketball player, that kind of haunted me a bit. Mr. Bradley said, "When you make speeches, you elicit expectations against which you will be held accountable." Yep, when you stand in a forum like this, you make proclamations, and you share a vision, you better be ready to deliver or pack your bags. I'd like to start out this morning by saying to all of you that I hope we can reconvene again next year to talk about how the College of Business has improved business education, delivered to you a stronger workforce, and contributed to our community's economic strength. My hope is that each of you will become so involved with our people and our programs that our success will become part of your personal and professional success. My goal here this morning is to engage you in our work, solicit your involvement with our students, and introduce you to our faculty as we aspire to become more relevant to you and our community. And like Mr. Bradley says, I want you to hold all of us in the College of Business accountable. As I mentioned earlier, UCF is a true partner, and its impact is seen and felt throughout this community. I wish I could say the same for the College of Business, but frankly, the college, over the last several years, has been largely invisible. We need to change that. And one of the first things that I did when I came to UCF was to put together what I consider to be a first-rate external relations team that can help connect you to the college. And I'd like to take a moment just to introduce those people to you. Tiffany, could you stand? Miss Tiffany Hughes is our Director of Community and Corporate Relations. When I met Helen, one of the first things I thought was, I want one of those too. So we brought Tiffany on board. Kelly Dowling, is Kelly here? I know she's here somewhere. Could you stand, Kelly? Kelly is our Director of Development for the college. Is Bridget here? Bridget Downs. Bridget, would you stand, please, who is our Director of Alumni Relations? And last but not least, the new guy in the block, our Director of Communications, standing in the back, Mr. Roy Reed. former president of the student body here at UCF. These are the people that I've charged with connecting all of you to the college, and you can consider my speech this morning your formal invitation to join us. And in making this invitation, I want to talk about two challenges that are interrelated that we have to overcome together. And then I'm going to end my talk today by making a personal ask of each of you in the audience. So, our first challenge is to slay the beast. And I'll tell you what the beast is in a couple of moments, but bear with me. Perhaps nothing has been more on the mind of this community than economic diversification, especially through investment in science, technology, engineering, and math, what we refer to as the STEM disciplines. And some significant progress has been made. UCF has been on the field of play with a number of our community partners, including the Florida High-Tech Corridor Council, the Central Florida Partnership, the Economic Development Commission, Visit Orlando, Enterprise Florida, and our friends in the community at the City of Orlando, at Orange County, and a number of other municipal agencies. My favorite example of the progress that's been made is right out my front window. I live in Lake Nona, and every morning when I get up, I open my window, and Medical City is right in front of me. Medical City is a great example of a public-private partnership. Significant investment was made there by both kinds of institutions, and we've had some success in drawing a roster of medical, health, and life science institutions, and an entire community is popping up all around it. Lake Nona is a shining example of what most successful economic development strategies do. Lake Nona seeks to be the choice of people who have choices. Let me say that another way. We want to attract people who have choices because people who have choices are drawn to and create opportunity. It's not whether people with choices will prosper, but where they will prosper and who will share in their prosperity. And we want people with choices to share their prosperity with us. The best economic development plan looks to turn these people loose in environments and settings that facilitate collaborations that make a difference. If we succeed at doing that, those people will take this community to places that you never imagined. So, what's the university's role in achieving this objective? Universities are great conveners. They're places where people from around the world with different backgrounds and experiences and perspectives can come together, offer new ideas, debate those ideas, and refine those ideas well before they ever stand the test of the marketplace. And it should come as no surprise that every single great metropolitan economy is anchored by a great university with a great business school. So San Francisco has Stanford and Cal. Boston has MIT and Harvard. Austin has the University of Texas. These are places that have learned how to slay the beast. They understand and have orchestrated the integration of business, engineering, applied science, and technology, that's the beast, in ways that lead to commercially viable ideas. Without this kind of integration, too many scientific ideas will fail to find markets, and too many business ideas will fail to scale into significant enterprises. UCF is the only institution in Orlando that houses all of the elements of the beast under one roof. And our more than 200,000 alumni are quickly taking over this community. If Orlando's going to slay the beast, they're going to do it with UCF. Since its inception, UCF has had a strong roster of science and technology. After all, we were created as Florida Technological University. And MJ and his staff in the Office of Research and Commercialization has done a great job in recent years helping to bring faculty ideas to market and creating a can-do culture. The challenge now is to bring business alongside of these efforts to ensure that the quality of the management team, their knowledge of the marketplace, and their ability to execute the business plan are as solid as the science and technology that fuels these discoveries. To do this, we must understand your needs and concerns. In other instances, we must break down our ivory towers and invite you in to see what we're doing. I've challenged our team to look for these points of collaboration, build new bridges, and create opportunities where our strengths match up. Let me give you 3 examples of how we are partnering with industry to break down silos and help slay that beast, both inside and outside of the university. So, first, next week, the president and I will be at the grand opening of the Blackstone Launchpad in the Student Union. Thanks to a $1.4 million grant from the Blackstone Corporation, our Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership will be able to expand its opportunities so that any student on campus, any student with an idea, can meet with an experienced counselor to talk about how to turn their idea into a business. It is the goal of the College of Business to extend entrepreneurial thinking across the entire campus. And the Blackstone Launchpad's place in the most active part of the student union is a highly visible sign of our commitment to do so. But that commitment to slay the beast doesn't just focus on new businesses. It is also designed to help existing businesses reach its full potential. So, about 2 weeks ago, the Dean of the College of Sciences and I, is Mike Johnson in the room today? Mike? You can acknowledge. I'm sure he's off doing good science stuff. And I met with executives of EA Sports to talk about their need for better business analytics. EA, like a lot of companies, collects massive amounts of data on its consumers' habits. And it's looking to understand that data and use that data to chart out where its industry is going to go and how it can compete in a highly volatile and changing marketplace. If you don't have the next great video game, you don't have any video game. So by pooling resources from the 2 colleges in marketing, information systems, economics, data mining, and stats, the 2 colleges are working together to create a master's level program in big data to serve the interests of companies and needs of companies like EA Sports. And just last week, the Dean of the College of Engineering and I met with representatives of Siemens to discuss ways that we can educate business and engineering students together to give them a common experience and a common set of perspectives so that they can increase innovative activity in their firms. We hope this new initiative will lead to a signature program that will attract high-achieving students to the university who are interested in new product development, sales engineering, and other related activities. We also look for this partnership to help us develop professional and executive education programs designed to increase cross-disciplinary collaboration at Siemens, helping them to slay their internal beasts. Slaying beasts is what Knights should and will do. Our second challenge is to become that destination of choice. So, how do you become the choice of people who have choices? To become that choice, you have to offer people something unique, something that will differentiate them and give them an advantage in the marketplace. That is the essence of opportunity. A couple of weeks ago, Kelly and I were out on the West Coast meeting with alums, and we had the opportunity to visit our alums at Google. We have about 25 alums at Google, including the number 3 guy at Google, by the way, who's a graduate of the College of Engineering and Computer Sciences. There isn't a kid at UCF who wouldn't die for the opportunity to work at Google. They know that working at Google will differentiate them and will define their career for the rest of their working life. And San Francisco and Silicon Valley prospers as a result of that. The same logic applies to my business. The institutions that will succeed over the next 50 years will be the ones that attract the best students and faculty. The students and faculty with choices. In fact, it's been my greatest joy over the last year to get to know my faculty. We have a lot of really outstanding faculty in the College of Business. These are people who could have worked at any of the great business schools in the United States, and they chose to make UCF their home. For those of you who don't know, we are experiencing commoditization in higher education, especially at the undergraduate level. All over the world, American-trained professors are using American-trained textbooks and American-trained concepts, and they're sharing that information over the internet. An online program is created every week. But that's not what a great business school can and should do. The sustainable advantage, the differentiator of a great business school, is not the technology. It's not the best massive open online course or state-of-the-art fitness facilities. The differentiator is the faculty. The single most important person in the educational process after the student is the person who stands in front of the room. If you want to create a unique experience that will draw people of choices, invest there. That's what we do. Faculty are the people who create opportunities for students. They set the culture. They provide them with perspectives. They will eventually and ultimately differentiate those students and the institution. You can make no better investment than in the faculty. Like Google, I must become a destination of choice for those faculty if I'm to help Orlando become a destination of choice for the kinds of people that it seeks. Great faculty members are people who have taken risks, they have persevered through failures, they have collaborated across boundaries, and they have used data to find, refine, and create opportunities. These are the qualities that are going to position people for success over the next 20 years, not the last 50. Business school is no longer about training people for a lifetime at General Motors. It is about using our core disciplines and the culture of the college to encourage students to reach out across campus, to bring business thinking, to people who are very, very different from themselves, and in the process, learn to reinvent themselves as they face the next challenge in a series of challenges that they will have over their entire life. This is no small task, and we in the College of Business are creating new rituals and rewards and initiatives to help define this new culture that we will imprint on our students. Let me mention 4 things that I think are critical and perhaps a little unique. So, we have a failure competition in the college. Everybody in the room knows that the most important lessons in life you learn, perhaps somewhat painfully, through your failures. Yet, every helicopter parent, every university administrator, and every state legislator tries to do everything humanly possible to prevent failure in college. We in the College of Business decided instead to embrace it. So, we challenged students in our strategy class to write about a personal failure that they've had, why it was significant, what they learned from it, and how it made them a better person. We had 177 entries. We posted them all online. You can read them. Okay. We then had a vote. 800 people voted, and we chose a winner of our failure contest. If I get my way, shockingly, deans don't always get their way, but if I have my way, starting next year, those will be public speeches in our atrium, where every student will be expected to stand up and talk about a failure that they've had and why that's important to them, right? The goal here is to destigmatize failure, to underscore its importance in learning, right? And to reward persistence. Those are key. 2, the college is large. For those of you who don't know, I have 8,000 undergraduate students and 1,000 graduate students. I'm basically the same size as the University of Notre Dame. I just don't have the football team. In a large place like that, people can get lost. And so to create a more welcoming and more engaging environment for our students, we created a Student Ambassadors program. These 22 students are charged with helping me implement the culture of the college. We meet every other week to discuss our progress and to talk about the challenges that we have in meeting that objective. These students are especially cute and cuddly. And I wish I had the time to introduce all of them to you, but 8 of them are here this morning. And as I mentioned their name, I would like them to kind of raise their hand. Amy Bonilla-Torres. Amy? Deonte Madden. Deonte? Natasha Jerome. Tyler Bartles. I detect a trend here. Most of them are in the same table. Blake Roth. Leif Bang. Justin Lamonte. And Melissa Hedke. Melissa? I would encourage all of you to get to know these students because you're all going to work for them someday real soon. Third, UCF's Access mission welcomes a lot of students to campus each year. We have a lot of first-generation college students here, as Helen pointed out. I'm a first-generation college student. I identify with that group. A lot of first-generation college students need a lot of help in making good career choices. You know, a lot of them end up in the College of Business because mom or dad said to them, go to business, you'll get a job in that. But business comprises a wide variety of occupations with a wide variety of lifestyles. And that choice can sometimes be really overwhelming for students. They also, because they don't typically get this sort of thing at home, need help acclimating to the professional standards and expectations of the profession that they hope to go into. So, we have decided to take what has been our traditional advising center and turn that into a professional development center. That professional development center will help 8,000 students make the kind of choices that they need to make to launch their careers. It will help them transition from study to practice and reinforce the qualities necessary for success in today's business world: smart risk-taking, cross-disciplinary collaboration, the ability to use data in real time to make decisions. Most importantly, number 4, we are working to get our faculty out into the community to share their ideas in public forums. So starting next month, we will host a provocative speaker series in the vein of the popular 20-minute TED Talks at the Citrus Club in downtown Orlando. Many of our faculty are working on ideas that will change the world, will impact your businesses, and your way of life. And I'd like to take this opportunity now to introduce you to some of them.
The main projects that I'm working on right now are really focused on infant health and female fertility. And as economists, why would we want to know about this? Well, we want to know about this because a lot of recent research in economics finds that the early health is really important for later outcomes. So I would say that a lot of my research is very important for understanding what kind of public policies are good for health. This certainly is relevant with the Affordable Care Act because there's so many changes that are being made with how public funds are being used for that purpose.
My overall hope is that we can really sort of bend the culture of UCF to become a more entrepreneurial community, to try and help more people focus on their own ideas, their own aspirations, developing innovations, and really working as servant leaders to provide helpful solutions to large and abiding problems that people face. We would like to have every student on campus get some introduction to entrepreneurial skills so that they can go forward and have that kind of capability and promote their own career security by having those kind of skills where they can really have an impact.
My paper, which had been published in that journal just a little earlier, had been voted the best paper. So the best paper in the best journal in my field, it was a big deal. And it was especially sweet because publishing that paper had been a real challenge. In that paper, speaking of provocative ideas, what I had proposed, which is part of my dissertation, was that marketing has an impact on stock price. This had been, everywhere I presented this, anywhere there was a finance person in the crowd, this was rejected right off the bat. For it to be acknowledged as the best paper published in the best journal in marketing was a real kick. And that's one of my proudest moments while at UCF.
One thing that impressed me during my years as director was how involved some of our alumni are in the operation of the Dixon School. There's a Dixon School Alumni Advisory Board that was in place long before I came. I just helped carry on the tradition. And one thing that advisory board does is it helps us sponsor and present the Dixon School of Accounting Education Conference. It's a 2.5-day conference attended by over 300 CPAs.
What brought me to UCF really was the idea that you could build a world-class real estate program. There are schools that have tried to build real estate programs in college towns, and while there may be great professors with great intellectual capital, there's no way to bring in top developers, there's no way to bring in top lawyers, even to maybe walk and do real estate tours in the local community. So not only do we have them, they are fully engaged not only with the faculty, but most importantly with the student.
I just went and presented a proposal up in Washington, D.C. and got funded by the Institute for Fraud Prevention. And we're bringing in people from the theater department, communications, the College of Nursing, with a focus in psychiatry or psychology, and accounting. And so we have this multidisciplinary team coming together to figure out how to give our students and staff accountants in the local community this skill building opportunity. All the sorts of things that would be, if you were trying to detect fraud, you need to get good at.
Our dean says he looks for those conversations where we sit on that proverbial log. One semester I had a student, a management student. He came to talk to me, and he originally came to talk to me about principles of marketing, and he was interested in some of the concepts we had been discussing in class, and we ended up that afternoon talking for 3 hours. The time just went by. Those are the types of interactions that are, I don't know, the most fun, the most rewarding in this profession. I knew that whatever university I accepted a position at, that it had to be a university that presented me that same diverse body so that I could give back in that way. And so UCF, with the research and then also the student body, it was a good choice for me.
Our Executive Development Center is unique in that it combines our degree programs and our non-degree programs. We have some of the best faculty, I think, in the country to draw from for our degree programs, and I think that's what we're known preeminently for. Our professional MBA, our executive MBA, our real estate program, and our HR masters. But what most people don't realize is that we can customize and pull from all of this talent that's available here at the faculty level to deliver special programs, either at corporate locations or at our downtown facility.
We have a very good faculty. I think that's always very important in universities, especially as we're now moving into a world where you can have a lot of faceless courses being taught. So we have some quality faculty, and we're actually very dynamic. There's a very strong technological base. I also think that we have a college that, especially now with the new dean, that is trying to use those technologies to reach out to the students, to the faculty. We are implementing it in the classroom, and we're implementing it to communicate.
Two important things that I think students would benefit from. One is determination or perseverance. They have to have the stubbornness, if you will, to keep on doing what they like doing and not give up. And the second is confidence in themselves. So if they have confidence in themselves, that would allow them to keep on chasing their goals. And so when I teach in my classes specifically, I try to show to my students that if you persevere long enough and if you're confident enough that you can solve the problem, most of the time you will solve the problem.
The market itself, due to technological change, has resulted in the ability to collect much more data at a much lower cost. They want to figure out what that information will tell them so that they can make better decisions. And so with kids having these kind of statistical skills, they both know where to look for the proper data, how to manipulate the data, and use the kind of software that allows them to get out the kinds of information that are useful in both, say, the private sector and even in the government.
The faculty here are quite outstanding. We have a lot of top scholars in particular areas, great teachers, faculties that are active, engaging with students in institutes, working with the community. Here at this college, there are people out and about working with the community, working with businesses, working with entrepreneurs, helping to grow business, working with government. And the prevalence of partnerships, I think, is just kind of part of the DNA of this region.
I feel like you have the opportunity to make this place whatever you want it to be, as a faculty member in particular. You always say you should have synergies between your teaching and your research, and that has definitely happened for me, because I created a class a few years ago called Contemporary Tax Topics, and basically it's a tax policy class. I'm definitely a better teacher because I'm a researcher, and I'm a better researcher because I'm a teacher.
It sounds like a cliche, but I mean, if you're not living on the edge, you're using up too much space.
What I need from all of you. I have a good friend, Meryl Bailey, she's with us today, who likes to refer to me as the counterculture dean. But I must tell you that there is one way in which I am very old school. I believe the best education occurs when you get a chance to sit on a log next to somebody who has something interesting to say and have a conversation with them. That's been true since Plato. The key to our emerging culture in the college is to get people comfortable with being uncomfortable. That requires them to all reach out and have meaningful conversations with people who are different from themselves. Now, my true passion in sports is baseball, and my wife Suzanne would tell you that it is an obsession. But I love to use baseball examples with students, in part because baseball is a game of failure. And one of my favorite examples involves Hall of Fame pitchers. Okay, so bear with me for a second here. You all get those calendars where you get a fact of the day on it. Well, one day a few years ago, my fact of the day was this. Almost a third of pitchers in the Hall of Fame led their league in losses at least once during their career. Now let me put that into perspective for you. There have been about 10,000 pitchers in the history of baseball. Only 700 of them finished their careers with a winning record. At the time of my calendar post, only 55 of them were in the Hall of Fame. 55. These were incredibly gifted people. But for at least one season during their incredible run, they were really terrible. They epically sucked, quite frankly. It's not easy to lead your league in losses in a given year. They lost like 15 to 20 games. Okay? And two things have to happen for that to be the case. First, you have to have a manager who comes to you and says, son, I know you're really struggling out there, and frankly, we're not helping you very much. But I believe in you. Here's the ball. The second thing that has to happen, of course, is that the pitcher has to be willing to take the ball. So here's what I need you to do. You will notice on each table there is a baseball. And on that baseball, there is the name and the email address of a faculty member. I want one person at each table to take that ball, email that faculty member, and set up a time to have a conversation with them. I don't care if it's over breakfast, dinner, lunch, drinks, whatever works. Okay? I promise you that that conversation will take you in directions that you never anticipated. will reveal to you opportunities that you did not know existed. And we'll start to build the kind of relationship between us and the community that will transform both of us and eventually make each of us the destination of choice for people who have choices. All I need you to do is take the ball. If you're not willing to take the ball, if you're too chicken, leave your business card for us and we'll hunt you down. That's fine. Either works. I'd like to thank Dr. Hitt and Helen for the opportunity to speak with you all for a few minutes this morning, and I look forward to carrying on the conversation with each of you individually. Go Knights. Thank you.